So with the Silent Hill 2 remake on the horizon, I thought I would look back at the original Silent Hill 2 to see how it holds up in 2024. If you end up liking this video, please leave a like and subscribe, as I will be doing a review similar to this one for when the Silent Hill 2 remake comes out, so subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss when that goes live. Silent Hill 2 was developed by Team Silent, and Team Silent was a small team of around 50 people within Konami, and Konami were the publishers for the game. Silent Hill 2 released in 2001 for the PS2, later in the year it got its Xbox release, and in 2002 it got its PC release. The Xbox release also added a side story featuring Maria called Born from a Wish, which the PlayStation got via the Greatest Hits version when the game was re-released in 2002. In 2013, Konami released a collection of both Silent Hill 2 and 3 on the Xbox 360 and PS3 called the HD Collection. The HD Collection is not held in high regard by Silent Hill fans. This is mainly down to the reasons that the games were put together so poorly that it severely harms the tone and atmosphere of both games. The story of Silent Hill 2 follows James Sunderland, who receives a letter from his dead wife Mary, where she says she's waiting for him in the town of Silent Hill. The concerning part of this is the fact that Mary passed away 3 years before the game takes place. So James, having received a letter from Mary, brings up a series of questions from the start. Over the course of the game, James will meet a variety of characters that have come to Silent Hill for various reasons. These include Angela, Eddie, Laura, and most interestingly, Maria. While Angela, Eddie, and Laura are all in Silent Hill for a very specific reason, it's Maria who is the anomaly among the people James encounters. The chief reason for this is that Maria looks almost identical to his deceased wife Mary, and so over the course of the game you get small clues and hints as to her true nature. Upon meeting Maria in Rosewater Park, she reminds James that his and Mary's other special place was the Lakeview Hotel. So for the rest of the game, Maria will accompany James on his journey to reach the hotel, and it is at the hotel that the true intention of the game is revealed. Silent Hill 2 features multiple endings, and some of these you can only access through New Game Plus. For the most part, these endings give the player a satisfying conclusion to the game, but they also have a lot of room for theory and speculation. Those of you wondering the ending I achieved, it was the in water ending, which some players consider to be the true ending of the game, although that has never been confirmed. The overall story of Silent Hill 2 is very dark and depressing, and after playing the game in full, it left me with an empty feeling that I had not felt since my playthrough of The Last of Us Part 2. Overall, I love the story of Silent Hill 2, and upon learning the true nature of Mary's letter and James's visit, made me love the game even more. The characters are also a strong highlight of the game and will stick in the player's heads even after finishing the game. The gameplay of Silent Hill 2 is very reminiscent of other survival horror games, which you need to explore locations, read files, and gather items in order to solve puzzles to progress. As the game is from the early 2000s, it uses tank controls in order to move James. For me, being accustomed to more modern controls, I had an issue with this at the start of the game, but over the course of my playthrough, I got used to it. But if given the choice in future of tank and modern controls, I will always opt for the modern ones. Unlike Resident Evil, Silent Hill 2 isn't super combat heavy, and it puts more of a focus on its puzzles and story. That's not to say that there is no combat in the game at all, as early on in the game you are introduced to the enemies that will roam Silent Hill and try to kill you as you progress. It is here that you are given your first melee weapon, and the melee weapons in the game are slower than the guns you can find, but depending on which melee weapon you have equipped depends on how much damage is dealt. You do get access to guns shortly after this, and there are two gun types in the game, that being a handgun and a shotgun. They both act how you'd expect, with the handgun being weaker and faster and the shotgun being slower but much stronger. During my first playthrough, I made the stupid mistake that I would only use guns for boss fights, and as you can imagine, that went as well as you can expect, and I died way too many times. Speaking of bosses, Silent Hill 2 does have boss fights, and for the most part, the best strategy is to stay as far away from them as you can and just unload all of your ammo into them. There is one exception to this, and that is the quote first boss you face, that being Pyramid Head, or as he's known in the game, Red Pyramid Thing. For this boss fight, you need to just damage him enough so that he will leave James alone and let you progress. The last bit of gameplay I want to talk about is exploration, and like I mentioned earlier, as this is an older game, there are no map markers or waypoints to follow. In order to progress, you need to find files and items in the open world that will lead you in the right direction. And speaking of the map, I love how it is done in this game. As you progress, James will write on the map routes that are blocked and where items and save points are located, and when using it to make your way around the town of Silent Hill, it is vital on your first playthrough to help you navigate the streets. Overall, I enjoyed the gameplay, and aside from the older control method, I loved every aspect of it. In terms of presentation, my favourite part was definitely the voice acting, as it struck such a fine line of being jarring enough to put players on edge but not not enough to take you out of the game entirely. Another part of the game's presentation I want to talk about is the FMV cutscenes in the game. There aren't that many in this game, but when they are used to great effect, and they're most commonly used for character introductions and certain special scenes. Another area of the game I'm going to highlight is the game's soundtrack. For the most part, the game's soundtrack is quite melodic and depressing, for use of a better word, but there are some upbeat tracks, the most notable one being Theme of Laura, which is used in the game's intro. For those of you wanting to watch the intro, I would strongly recommend you finishing the game first, as there are some slight spoilerific scenes in the intro, so it's definitely worth watching after you finish the game. So those are my thoughts on Silent Hill 2. I'd love to hear what you guys think in the comment section down below, and if you like this video, please give a big thumbs up and subscribe, as like I mentioned previously, I will be doing a review similar to this one on the Silent Hill 2 remake. And after playing the original Silent Hill 2, I am very interested to see what tweaks and changes will be made to the original Silent Hill 2 formula to make it more modern and fresh for today's audiences. Obviously, we know that there will be updated controls and some adjusted puzzles, but I'm interested to see what other things Bloober Team will implement into the game to maybe improve the game. There is one thing I don't want them to change in any way, however, and that is the story, as the story of Silent Hill 2 works so well that if they changed even a slightest bit of it, I feel like it could potentially end up ruining the entire thing. So hopefully they haven't touched the story at all, and I'm also interested to see if they've implemented Born from a Wish at all, or will it be a DLC similar to Separate Ways was for the RE4 remake. I guess we won't find out until the game releases on October 8th, and hopefully you will come back and join me and watch my review of it when that comes out as well. But thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you next time.